Came back to this. Mike Starling, who started WHCP, lives down the street from me here in Cambridge. Our dogs are best friends. And he was at NPR when I was at PBS. And we used to tease each other, sort of the competition between radio and television. And at the time, television was getting most of the attention, most of the funding from CPB and public media sources. And it's interesting that things have flipped, not necessarily with the funding, but that it's really audio that's king right now with Alexa and podcasts and how audio has changed. So it's not just radio, it's the whole audio world. I am so passionate, and it always was about community radio. When I was in Minneapolis, St. Paul, this was back in the mid 90s when, for those of you who remember, radio was a wasteland. And I had a long commute. And so I would listen to NPR until it went back to the original segment that I heard when I first left. And so I was just desperately looking for just alternatives on the radio station. And I happened upon one day, and I'll never forget the day. I know it was a Friday, KFAI, community radio in the Twin Cities. And their mantra was, it's a different radio station every hour, which is very similar to WHCP. And most of the programs were from local people. But these are people who come in here who love this music and want to share their passion and their knowledge. And that's just on the music side. Then we have talk shows with Doris, with Margot Garcia, and Midshore Midday, where we have volunteer journalists who talk to hundreds and hundreds of people locally who run nonprofits, have events, are volunteers. So just looking at how many people are involved with the station, 40, 50 volunteers who are making all of this content and all of this happen. It's pretty amazing. Yes. We've had a home here since 2004. We were in, we're sailors. So we were in Alexandria, Virginia with a little boat in the sailing marina in Alexandria in the Potomac. And we just started looking for places on the Eastern Shore. I kept looking at this place called Cambridge online. There's a place called Cambridge, Maryland. It was affordable for us journalists and public media people. Let's go look at it. And we drove over that drawbridge, and both of us just said, we're home. This is it. We're home. We're home. And so we had a second home here since then. And then a year and a half, we moved here permanently, and this is now our home. But we were attracted to this area because it's so distinctive. It's complex, fascinating. There's something about it. I think a lot about this with the radio station and why this station in itself is so interesting. It's because of where we are. Austin is keep Austin weird. Cambridge is keep Cambridge real. It feels very real in all of its good and bad parts. It's real. It's like, if those of you who know Garrison Keillor, it's like Lake Wobegon, sort of this image that people have of some place that mysterious and familiar at the same time. Or for those of you of a certain age, Sicily, Alaska, with northern exposure, right? And it defines who the station as well. It's defined, that eclectic station, all of those genres and all of those people we talk to, it's because of this area. And if you're going to, someone like me, you want to make an impact where you are, and you have a chance to make an impact through a place like this, through media that exposes people to all sorts of different ideas, different music, but also different ideas and knowledge. It just, you can have more impact here than a place that maybe is a little more, I would say, one-dimensional. The people who are most attracted to a station like this, we're a lot like the one I described, KFAI. We're a different radio station almost every hour. They're attracted not because in public media people say, oh, it's for people who are educated, or it's people who might lean one way or another in political party. It has nothing to do with that. I was head of audience strategy. It has really nothing to do with the demographic. It's a psychographic, and that's what connects people who like this sort of media is curiosity. So they might like country music, but they're curious about hip hop or indie, and they will listen. I call them audio adventurers. Audio adventurers. They will listen to almost everything. Yeah, and right now we're a low power station, 90 watts. I know we cover about 10 to 15 mile radius around Cambridge, but we are working on an expansion. I can't say a whole lot about it because it's still in play. So the FCC opened the opportunity to apply for licenses, some new licenses, and one is a license in this area where we would expand. Would be basically almost all of Dorchester County and all of Talbot County as well. So it's more from 90 watts to 5,000 and potentially up to 10,000 with some fancy engineering and some directional antennas. That said, will be from Cambridge, Maryland. So we're not changing. Like we talked about that brand, that mysterious, real, still accessible brand. That's who we are. That's in our DNA, and we'll continue to be that. But we will cover other areas as well. So it is the opportunity to really, really feel it. Everything you do, every minute you spend is for where I live and the people I know.